Welcome to our second lesson in our mass media module, where we're looking at ownership and control of the media. First lesson, we focus on what is a media concentration and how corporations control large parts of the media. In today's lesson, we're looking at a perspective, namely the pluralist perspective and their views on media ownership. Now, pluralists are similar to their perspective similar to what functionalists, new right, Marxists, feminists are. So their own way of thinking in their own right. Now, you have theorists who follow this perspective, the pluralist perspective. If you think about a plural, it's more than one or something. So pluralists believe that there's more than one person or viewpoint shown in the media, so nobody controls or dominates. On the board, you have a question that sort of outlines their viewpoint. Outline and explain two ways in which the media is democratic and representative. So what we're asking here is, what two ways are the media democratic? So they listen to everyone's viewpoints are shown and highlighted in the media. And representative, how do they represent their audience or the people that they're trying to target? We're going to look at this in a bit more detail throughout today's lesson. And this will be your home learning for next week, Wednesday, where I'll give you a resource with a lot of hints and tips on how to answer that question. So, pluralist is a theory that states that there are many voices in the media and not one person controls our viewpoints. So below I've got an AO3 question here where I'd ask, so we can access different parts of the media. We pick and choose what we listen to nowadays, so we have control over what we literally are exposed to. But do you think it could be a case where, for example, if I pick my own YouTubers that I watch, that I could be exploited by the media still? Is there still ways of us to be exploited? Even though we've got this massive amount of choice, are there any ways that we could be exploited? And those are the sort of questions I want you to ponder as we go through this lesson today. So the way that I remember pluralism is thinking about plural. So, for example, the plural of cow is herd, right? So more than one cow, there's a herd of cows. Think about the media. There's more than one owner of the media, more than one voice or opinion in the media. Multiple choices, multiple voices. Okay, moving on. Apologies, there's a slight delay in my PowerPoint. So pluralism sees the exercise of power on society as reflecting the broad range of social interests and not one person has single control. So in our first lesson we looked at how there were 5 corporations that controlled the media and that we were only exposed to the opinions or content of a few different owners. Well, pluralists argue that there's different types of power in our society, and that's seen in the media as well. So for example, in today's world we have influencers, YouTubers, we have social media, Twitter. We can access what we want in the media, and those different types of media have different effects on us. Audiences are free to pick and choose what they view, and they have different interpretations of the media. So ordinary people are now authors and publishers of the media. So for example, KSI has 29 million subscribers and followers, so that one YouTuber from Watford has more influence than what you could say Channel 5 or another TV channel has. Also, you have organisations like Ofcom who regulate what is published in the media. So with media content, it has to go through different organisations who regulate. They basically see what the content is and if it's offensive or if it's biased, and they can alter it or fine the companies. Also, if you have any complaints about what you see on TV or newspapers or even on social media, you can complain to these bodies like Ofcom, so you can follow up and remove the content or punish the people who are publishing such content. On the board is a diagram that highlights pluralism in a nutshell. You have the audience here with the different types of media and methods of using the media, and they see the audience as king. The audience shapes what we see in the media. These corporations like Disney, News Corp, CBS, Times Warner, they're not in control, because if they publish what we don't want, we want to use their media products. Pluralists argue that these companies have to sort of cater to our needs and our interests. So the audience is king. Once we go to Marxism next week, it should be clear where these arguments sit. So pluralism, the audience is in control. Marxism, the owners and the elites, the ruling class are in control. Moving on. Pluralists will state that because we have these three things in place, no one group can dominate or control the media content. First of all, we live in a democracy where everyone has a say, everyone has a vote, and the interest of everyone is shown throughout every type of media product, or all throughout the media even. You also have the electorate there, so people elect politicians, people have interests and viewpoints. So when it comes to media coverage of, let's say, politics or elections, everyone's views will be represented in the media. We've also got pressure groups here that represent a small portion of society that might not have, let's say, overall power, but have interest. And these pressure groups will alter what we see in the media. A good example would be #MeToo or Black Lives Matter, where these groups are trying to bring to light injustice or news for lawmakers to view and debate. So overall, the media is diverse because it reflects a diverse society. We have people with different viewpoints, different levels of power, and we all have a democratic say in today's world, so the media must sort of mirror that. That's what pluralists are saying here. Moving on. So I'm going through some slides that reflect the key points of their theory. First of all, they argue that the content of the mass media reflects or mirrors what the public want. They cater to the public as a whole by responding to the demands of the market. If they don't do this, they won't make a profit. So for example, if media outlets or TV stations or newspapers are putting out content that no one's going to watch or follow, they will have no followers or no audience, and they'll have no profit in the end. So it's up to them so it's in their interest to produce content that's going to appeal to us. Those who own and control take a pluralist view in that they must satisfy public demand in order to stay in business. Thus, the audience are in control. Again, the whole theme about a diverse society equals a diverse media. We have people from different backgrounds, interests, political opinions, so the media must reflect that. No one group in our society dominates, therefore the media must reflect the diverse societal opinions. There's a range of different views which allows audience freedom to choose between them, and diversity responds to audiences. So for example, the example on the board is that BlackBerry failed because iPhone was more popular and iPhone was more suitable to appealing to the demands of the audience. And the same goes for the media. If your newspaper is not following or covering news that's going to be of interest to people, you're going to go out of business. So pluralists argue that the audiences are king, as we said before. Now, you might see bias in the media, and jumping ahead a little bit, Marxists might argue, yes, you'll see bias because the capitalists or the ruling class will push forward news that would distract people or keep you occupied, so no one's really questioning what's really happening in the world. But pluralists will say, well, actually, no. Bias occurs when they broadcast news that people sympathise with or want to hear about. So the example on the board is newspaper headlines regarding asylum seekers. So if asylum seekers are represented as a problem, it's because the majority have this view, according to pluralists. But again, the question there that I would ask if it was in class now would be, do these headlines that you see on the board reflect the views of Britons? Yeah, obviously, you would argue no, because there's different viewpoints on immigration and asylum seekers. Not everyone's fearful of them taking jobs or wanting them to be banned. But from a pluralist point of view, you'd argue that this is reflecting what the public wants, that's why it's there. Okay, and this here, put simply, refers to the fact that the audience has power. When it comes to us selecting what we choose or what we watch, listen to, we have our phones, we have our laptops, we have our TVs. We can pick and choose when and what we observe. So if a Bagdickian from our first lesson, the Marxist theorist, was to argue that we are being controlled by these 5 corporations, pluralists might turn around and say, well, actually, no. When we use media, we might follow only one YouTuber, use it for music, and then read a book. We're not under the control of the overall mass media. We, as an audience now, pick and choose what we follow and when we follow it. Here we have an AO question. So on the board, you have a picture from a tweet posted by Lord Sugar 2 to 3 years ago, where he's compared the Senegal national football team to looky guys that you might see on the coast of Spain if you're on a holiday. The caption goes, I recognise some of these guys from the beach in Marbella, multitasking, resourceful chaps. Okay. Obviously, there's a lot of issues with that post and that picture there. The whole point behind activities here is that you might question, right, we pick and choose who we follow, so you might choose to follow Lord Sugar for X, Y, and Z reason, but also now we can interact with what we see in the media. So it's no longer the case that we're watching news items on a big back TV and that we can't really interact with what we're seeing. We are now authors and we can now interact with the media that we have here. So we're no longer passive audiences or quietly watching what we see without questioning what we see. We are answering back and interacting with what we are observing in the media. You can argue as well, with social media we have wide access to diverse views, but when we respond in turn you see a wide array of views. You can look at the example of Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. There's a big debate online regarding the 2 campaigns, and that just shows how diverse society is and how diverse the media can be with it. So this slide here serves to be like an AO2 example. Now with the mass media, we live and breathe the media every day, so you should have a load of examples you can put in behind your essay writing as well. In our first lesson, we looked at media concentration and 2 theorists, Bagdickian and Curran. They're both Marxists, and they thought that it was bad that you'd have 5 corporations or a few newspaper owners. But what they're saying here, pluralists, is that media concentration is not a bad thing. If you have these few companies with a load of money, a load of resources, they're able to provide a load of choice for different products and at affordable prices. So the fact that, let's say, Netflix is so big and powerful means that they can cater to different people with different interests at affordable prices. And they think that the media concentration is a good thing. It's a good thing that we have owners with power and influence in the media because they can cater to everyone's needs. Very, very different to what we saw in the first lesson. Deregulation here, we're looking at laws when it comes to media. So in the past, you'd have a lot of laws restricting what can be put out into the media. In today's world, they're being relaxed. So people are able to put forward their views without having it edited or censored. So we have even more choice in today's world. The fact that we don't have so much control on the media allows for the media to be independent, no bias, and people can put forward their viewpoints. If you have someone with a conspiracy theory, for example, on YouTube, in theory, they can publish it without having it censored or taken down. Private ownership. Pluralists welcome deregulation, so the lack of laws, because private ownership is the most effective way to get choice and to get people to compete with each other. So if you have people owning the media, private people owning the media, they can put forward their viewpoints without being censored, and they can increase the amount of choice. For pluralists, the more choice, the better. Here we have 3 pluralist theorists, and they're largely answering back to what Marxists say about the media. So once we go through the Marxist lesson, these theories should become a lot clearer. First of all, Wells suggests that media owners have global problems, therefore cannot concern themselves with the day-to-day running of the media outlet or content of their media. So what we're saying here is that if you're Rupert Murdoch, the head of News Corp, who owns the Sun, Sky, and what have you, you're going to have a lot of money and a lot of concerns. You've not got time to be looking at your newspaper and seeing what the articles are or what's in your newspaper. You've got bigger fish to fry. So Wells states that media owners are not really concerned about what's in their media products. Katz and Lazarfield did a study before a US election in 1955 to find out how the media influenced public opinion and votes. And they saw that it was unpredictable and quite limited. Not everyone is exposed to the same sorts of media products. They don't have the same sort of attention span. They might have pre-existing attitudes, or they might have different understandings or levels of intelligence. So not everyone is affected by the media in the same way. For example, if you have your nan who's watching the news day in, day out, and she doesn't quite understand all the words in the media article, she might interpret it in a different way to what you would. So you might have different political views there in that point. Blondel argued that no single group in society has a monopoly of power or control. So what he's saying there is that nobody has ultimate control or power of the media, and that mass media is competitive and diverse. So it's unable for, well, no one is able to control the media or have a monopoly over it all. So in summary, pluralists argue that there's different authors, opinions and viewpoints in the media. We're not exposed to only a few people. We now select what we are exposed to. So there's a wide array of different viewpoints in the media. Now, Marxists and other groups would criticize them on a few points here. First of all, media owners appoint editors and journalists. They hire people who have the same sort of views as them and that will cooperate with them. If you was to think, if you worked in a newspaper company, for example, a TV station, you wouldn't put out content that would upset your boss, would you? News is often the same and collected by a few companies. So when it comes to the majority of news, it's collected by a few companies that sell it on to other companies. So it's all coming from the same source. Not all groups in society have equal influence. I think you can see that from the Black Lives Matter campaign in the news currently. Only the very rich have influence and resources to build media empires. So people will criticize pluralists by saying not everyone has access to have a wide media audience. Although in brackets there, I've put social media, as you could argue. With social media, you've got YouTubers, influencers, Twitter accounts where they have a big audience and they themselves have more power than most traditional media. The pressure to attract audiences may reduce media choice because everyone's focused on what sells, e.g. celebrity news. So the fact that everyone's interested in watching celebrity or listening to celebrity news might restrict our choice. So you've got programs like Love Island and all the other spin-offs that sort of restricts the amount of content we get in the media. So in fact, listening to audiences' needs and their choices is not a great thing in some respects. Okay, and on this slide here, I've got some critiques from Marxist theorists for you to read through before you do your 10-mark question here. So, on to the next slide, you've got your 10-mark question. So, outline and explain 2 ways in which the media is representative and democratic, even. So, what I've prepared for you guys is, if you go to our Teams file here, you'll see we've got ownership and control topic 1. I've put all topic 2 files in here. You've got the lesson that I read through a moment ago. You've got a hexagon sheet to make notes on if you want to. You've got a copy from the handbook, and you've also got the essay question and homework. I've given you the theorist there and some help to help you out there. What you'll be arguing for those 2 ways is that the media is not biased, no one controls the media content. Actually, it's fair, represents the public, and everyone gets a choice, or everyone gets to see their views published. Okay. Also, may I ask that you submit your work using the assignments tab here. So I won't click on it, but here's the work due for next Wednesday on the 10th of June. Click on it and then you see your name and submit your work via that tab there. Let me quickly show you the files that we've got. I'll talk you through them very quickly. Where are we? Okay, so that's today's lesson that I've run through. Here is a copy from the handbook, so if you are stuck on today's lesson, you can literally read through that and everything is there. Secondly, you've got the essay question plus the help sheet to go along with it, so read through that if you're stuck. And last of all, where I was going through the main points of the pluralist theory, you can read through or watch through the PowerPoint again. Apologies, I'm not fantastic at multitasking. And you can fill in this sheet as you go through it. So if we were in class, what we would have done is gone through these hexagons one by one, so you'd know the 5 key points about the pluralist theory on algebra control. Then we would have done a few board activities in class, and then around the sides here we've done some criticisms of their theory. So if you're really stuck on the pluralist theory, I'd argue that you should use this sheet to go through the PowerPoint again, and that should make it a lot clearer. Okay, any questions, feel free to email me, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.